We all suffer with it. We know that we don't want to feel this way. However, yet we don't know how this villain captures us. And we are talking about something really very important, which is triggers. How many of us know what is triggers? Do we get triggered? We know we get triggered. We know. And how many of us actually realize, just give me a second, how many of us actually realize that we are triggered? Definitely, but we are triggered not because somebody else has triggered me. We already have the seed of the trigger. When there is an external mirror that says, hey, look, this is who you are, that is when we are upset. A trigger is basically an emotional trauma that we hold inside our body and we don't want to look at it. It is a pain point. It is a situation that we are not comfortable with. And it causes us pain. It causes us to suffer. We don't like to be triggered. How many of us like to be triggered? Tell me. We love to trigger others. We definitely love to trigger others. I too love to trigger everybody around my house, including my... And Tushar loves to dispose of his anger on my pets. So he triggers the pets. No, but jokes apart, we all love to trigger others. And if we know their pain point, then we go triggering them, especially people who we love significantly. Is that not a little sadistic of us to do that? That we are aware of how people are triggered by something we say or we do, and yet we do it when we are angry because we want them to know how I feel when I'm triggered. Yes, no, maybe so. Are we on the same page? Is there any confusion, Mihika? Krishna, all okay?
No, ma'am. Yes, I'm all okay on the same page.
Lovely. Thank you, Amarpreet, for validating my thought. The idea is now we have to understand how many of us really want to understand and work with our triggers. Thank you, Mihika, for being honest. Thank you, Krishna. Aarti is not sure that she has triggers. Okay, lovely, Aarti. And Vidushi doesn't want to work on her triggers at all. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I want to.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And
I just experienced today the triggers.
lovely. Congratulations. Welcome to the group. The group that is now making aware choices to recognize triggers and probably work towards it. I wish we had an on-off button where we could say, I don't want to be triggered, and switch off the trigger button so that we don't give people power to make us feel discomforted. Right? But let's understand what are triggers. What happens is, as we are born, like I keep saying this again and again and again, as we are born whole and complete. We have the possibility of being anyone we want to be. But when somebody in the whole process of conditioning us, when somebody tells us, no, you can't be this person, don't do this, you can't do this. When there are too many no's, don'ts, should nots in the conversation, we begin to feel vulnerable because we are explorative, like the cat right behind me right here. If you can see, he's trying to explore the cupboard, wanting to climb up there. So we are all explorative in our childhood. However, as we grow, people around us, the adults around us, are telling us how to be in a certain way in the society in which we are born, because that helps us to be accepted into societies. That helps us to become valid and respectable members of society. Not that the adults who conditioned us were our villains and they wanted to control us, but they wanted us to have acceptance, and therefore we were conditioned in this manner. What our adults missed telling us is that what they are telling us are guidelines and not rules. Let's understand the difference between guidelines and rules. Guideline is a is a place, or is a certain amount of suggestion that adults give us, so that we can choose when to practice it and when not to practice it. But in that moment, when the adults speak to us, they are telling us, don't do this. They do not specify, do not do this in this situation, in this environment. Now, if you go back to all the internalized rules that you have, are you aware that most of the things that we were taught, we don't like it because they are not valid in a situation today? My mother said, don't back answer adults. Because when she said this to me as a child, probably she did not want me to seem rude. She did not want the other adult to feel insulted because of my words and my actions. What happens is, because I was told don't back answer people without an explanation of why should I not back answer people, I have made it a rule of my life not to back answer people. And because of that, what happens is, today, when there is a need to say something back to someone who's in an adult or an authority position, I don't have the courage to say it because the conditioning is don't back answer, don't back answer, don't back answer. Even if it means that I have to correct an adult who does not understand the responsibility of what they want to do. I'll give you an example. So, now the whole premise is, as children, we were taught don't lie to anybody, right? I have a 96-year-old aging aunt who lives with me, Maushi, my Masi, who lives with me. And she is insisting on eating non-vegetarian food every single day, 3 meals in a day, which is not healthy for her. But she does not recognize that because mentally, probably she's not really understanding the consequences of what might go wrong if she eats that food every day. And I told my cousin, just tell her I haven't made food. I haven't made non-veg today. So when you say this to the aunt, immediately the cousin's response was, how can we lie to aunt? I said, it's not lying. It's about taking care of her well-being. If I sit and explain to her that you are not supposed to eat non-veg 3 meals in a day, she won't understand it. So it's okay to lie in this manner. But she was so stuck up on the fact that you cannot lie to adults. Karan uddhat vatta. It seems rude that you are lying to someone. Isn't it? Now tell me, if I lie in this situation, is it good or is it bad?
It's good.
Okay, thank you, Krishna. Aarti, Vidushi, do you think it is good to lie in such a situation?
I've said this before, but sometimes I would lie.
So the idea is that this was a trigger for my cousin, that I am asking her to lie. And she labeled me as the most horrible person in the family. The whole family already knows that Pallavi is a liar and don't trust her. Now, just imagine something that was in the interest of the aunt. It did not have any personal interest for me. It triggered my cousin because it was going against her belief system that you should not lie. Her parents conditioned her in a manner that you should not lie ever, because they were trying to make sure that their life is easy, because if she doesn't lie, they don't have to process everything she says. Like reading in between the lines, she will tell you that okay, she's lied, and it becomes easier for the parent, isn't it? So here the idea is, triggers are something that we have internalized as rules while they were guidelines. And because at some time we are conflicted between what we should do versus what is right, what is ideal versus what is practical. And when that conflict comes in, that is when we feel the pain of being a certain person. And then it's beyond our control. we don't have control over being that person or being who I truly am meant to be. The problem is that we don't recognize that we are triggered. So now with this cousin that I'm talking about, she's felt triggered and she does not know what to do with this trigger. So what is her coping mechanism? Her coping mechanism is, oh, Pallavi is a liar. And see how many times we react to our triggers rather than understand our triggers. Are we on the same page as yet? Is everybody understanding?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Pallavi.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the nitty-gritty is that we do feel triggered, but we blame others for our triggers. Amarpreet, isn't this our classic story?
100% I agree.
I have the same story playing out with my sister these days.
Lovely. Giving him the responsibility of triggering her. Now, Amarpreet, when we blame or when we say that somebody has triggered me, are we not giving them the power to choose whether I can be happy or sad or jealous, or my coping mechanisms are coming because of this cousin of mine or because of Amarpreet's son? So how much power are we giving the person who seemingly has shown us the mirror about the trigger that I carry within me? And can I ask the world to stop showing me the mirror?
I'm giving 100% power to that.
Correct. We all do, Amarpreet. We all do. And because I have also given the power to others at some point in time, and now I am choosing to take back my power. I'm saying, okay, I recognize I am triggered, and then I am going to do something about being triggered regularly. I'm going to change something about my belief system that triggers me. But otherwise, I'm not going to give any other human being the authority or the power to make me feel sad, angry, upset, or feel like a victim. When we begin to feel these emotions, we begin to feel like a victim. Or when we feel powerless as a victim, then, like Vidushi said, this powerlessness as a victim, Vidushi, this is for you. The powerlessness as a victim, when it triggers me, then I make a coping mechanism of lying rather than confronting with the truth. The coping mechanism can be lying. Because I'm triggered, I cannot speak my truth because I'm afraid of the consequences of the truth. So lying becomes a coping mechanism. Make sense? Then
Yes.
we cope by using or by saying things that are more convenient. So as simple as I recognize I didn't wake up on time, and then, oh my God, my boss is going to irritate me or is going to be annoyed with me for not for coming late. So then I say, oh my God, boss, I'm sorry, I'm late. But then, there was an accident on the road, or maybe when I was coming down, there was this horrible fight that happened. And oh my God, the trains were cancelled and I missed this train and then I couldn't get onto the other trains. Well, the train was on time. You were late. So I missed the train because I was late. Or I slipped on the stair and I, twisted my ankle. Oh my God, my ankle hurts. We are trying to cut down on the feeling that I am triggered. I'm triggered because there is a belief. It could also be that, yes, I'm late, boss. No trigger. But I don't want to tell my boss that, yes, I am late. So then I end up making excuses or giving incorrect reasons for my lying. Make sense? And this is our coping mechanism. Understand, a trigger is something that makes you feel vulnerable. When you are vulnerable, that feeling is very uncomfortable in the body. So to cover up the discomfort that we feel, we then decide that, okay, I am this person, I don't want to be this person. So then what to do? Then we pick up a coping mechanism which says, okay, we'll cope by doing a certain thing. Like, for example, if I wake up late, then I don't want to be responsible for getting up late. That responsible Pallavi doesn't want to take responsibility of getting up late. So then what happens is the irresponsible Pallavi is the one who starts to act out. And what does she do? She then says, oh, you know what? I didn't sleep well in the night. I didn't have a well-rested evening. So therefore, I couldn't wake up in the morning. My alarm didn't go off. Well, your alarm very well went off. You switched it off and you went back to sleep. It's very seldom that machines fail. Humans fail. Or humans choose to fail. It's a very intense topic. It's what I'm saying has a very deep meaning to what I'm saying. We are talking about being triggered. Yes. So understand that when we are talking of triggers, triggers make us feel powerless. Then our defense mechanism can be, I'm angry, but then I cannot be angry with my boss. So then I use sarcasm. I'm making a joke out of my anger and presenting it to others. Look at how we cope with such things. Look at how we cope with triggers. What happens when we are triggered? Or now the question is, what should I be doing when I'm triggered? What are our coping mechanisms? Tell me, Mihika, Amarpreet, Aarti, Vidushi, Krishna, Tushar, and Pallavi. What
Can
do
I
we
give
do?
an example?
Yes, please.
So my husband's traveling for a month and he's not around. And day
Hmm.
before, he's been sending me reels on Insta talking about, oh, my shopping car habits. And he's been making jokes about me. I mean, he's joking about me all the time. But
Hmm.
last 1 week, I received like 2, 3 reels on, oh, my wife ordered this parcel and stuck in China. Oh, look, this funny stuff about people
Hmm.
doing online shopping and their parcels being stuck and having no clue about where my parcel is. Like jokes about a woman
Hmm.
shopping.
Hmm.
And then day before in the morning, early in the morning at 7 o'clock, he called and he's like, something happened. And it was like it was a very matter of fact conversation. And then suddenly he's like, oh, but what about your shopping? And it was already there. And he
Hmm.
brought it up in the morning and I really got mad at him and I cut the call and I howled for 1 hour because I just felt like, oh my God, I don't even shop. I don't know why he's attacking me like this about shopping. I mean, I
Hmm.
really felt bad. Is that a trigger? Because I did attack him very badly. I didn't speak to him for 2 days.
Definitely. The trigger was he is blaming me of being an unreasonable shopper.
But I don't feel I'm an unreasonable shopper. I only
It's
buy things that I
hold,
need.
hold, hold. I didn't say that you are an unreasonable shopper. You didn't listen to me well. I said he feels that you are an unreasonable shopper. Or, please understand, please listen to this carefully. Probably Vidushi begins to shop online as a coping mechanism for something that she's not wanting to see. And probably her husband sees this part of her. And then he does not have the courage to tell Vidushi upfront because he knows that Vidushi might just jump and pounce and attack him. So then he uses sarcastic reels to, give her a heads up. And then he slowly takes the courage of questioning her. So what about your shopping? And there is Vidushi, pounce. She's exactly lived. He's predicted it in his mind. And he's saying, see, I knew this. I know my wife so well. Now, what is happening is you are giving him the power of letting him believe that he knows you very well. He already can tell how you are going to react in a certain situation. So don't you think he's in power?
Yeah, he is.
And he is in power of something that is in your control. And if he's controlling something that you should ideally be controlling, then who's the puppet here? You are attacking, you attack him with the hope that you are in charge. You want him to know I am in charge. Are you really in charge? Something that we need to think and process. When I am triggered, I am never in charge. I'm giving somebody else the charge, and somebody else can key us and make us behave in a certain way, and they already know how we are going to behave. They are not surprised by our reactions. Does that make sense, Vidushi?
Yeah.
So what is your coping mechanism when you are triggered? Attack.
Attack.
That is your mood. But is it that you are attacking by choice or by chance?
Chance. Otherwise I wouldn't attack him.
Correct. It's not by choice. You are attacking your partner by chance. So chances are coming from helplessness. No, I don't know any other way to be. What could have been a non-triggered response? Let's understand from everybody. Vidushi, do you have a non-triggered response? If you were not
No.
triggered by his reels, then what would you have responded? Anyone else can try.
Can I
What
go?
would
Normal
have,
response.
wait, what is a normal response, Amarpreet?
हाँ shopping करते हैं मतलब yeah I'm doing.
Okay, it could have just been, what about shopping? Well, I have shopped for some things, or maybe I haven't shopped for too many things this time. I've just shopped for 2 or 3 things, unlike what I would have done otherwise. And he didn't accuse you of shopping. He asked you, so what about shopping? What's been happening on your shopping front?
Yeah.
The simple
He asked me
answer,
about my shopping. Correct.
and you could have just said, oh, well, I didn't shop much. Or yeah, this time I did shop a lot. And probably because you are not around. And, I love to pick a fight with you because I love you. And therefore, when you're not around, then I fill in the void of missing you by shopping. Validated, no? But the thought was, how dare you talk about my shopping? I don't shop things that are unnecessary. I only shop. He never said you shop unnecessarily. He just shared that you shop frequently. And you could shop frequently for necessary things. I make a list and I shop everything monthly. But there are times when I forget to make a monthly list. And then, yeah, today I remember this, I shopped. After tomorrow, I remember something, I shopped. Every second, third day, my doorbell is ringing. That doesn't mean I'm shopaholic. It just means I'm disorganized. See how we allow different labels to come through, and we are mislabeling, no? We are mislabeling what the person is saying and the intention behind that person. In all probability, your husband was just asking you, do you shop more when I'm there or do you shop more when I'm not there? Probably he was missing you, or he was wanting to hear that he's being missed at home. And again, like I said, we do communicate very inferentially. We are not direct in our means of communication. What would have been a direct way of telling him that, hey, you know what? You've sent me reels on shopping and I felt accused. Maybe that was not your interest. You just wanted to show me the mirror, and unfortunately, I got so triggered by your accusation. I felt accused by the reels that you sent. And then when you asked me about the shopping, which might have been a very innocent question or maybe a triggering question, I lost it. And I'm sorry, I would prefer for you not to talk about my shopping anymore. That would have been honest, no? And then if he talks about shopping, you can be brutally honest, not accuse it, not feel accused. Yeah. And Vidushi, I'm really thankful and grateful to you for being so brutally honest about your life. I think we all have our triggers. We all feel triggered in different ways, but we don't have the courage to bring it to a platform like this. We really feel that no, people are going to judge me. Oh my God, what are people going to think of me? I want people to, believe me and say good things. I'm going to just raise my chair, and that is why all this. Huh. Okay. It's probably. So, we begin to misread in between the lines. We start to presume their intentions. And if I have to presume somebody's intentions, why don't we presume intentions that are clean and clear? Because in our own heads, we have labeled them as villains of our life.
Yeah, I really think my husband is a villain of my life.
He thinks so too. And that is why most of the husband and wife, Krishna, not for your years yet. You're just married a year ago, so you still have time. 3 years down the line, or 5 years down the line, you begin to believe कि मेरे पिछले जन्म का पाप धोने के लिए ही मैंने इससे शादी करी है. मेरे सारे पाप इसकी वजह से ही धुलने वाले हैं. Right? So understand that we are triggered not by the other person. We are triggered by the voids that are there within me. And I have picked up a defense mechanism and a coping mechanism, which then have reactive patterns to the environment. Environment by itself is non-reactive. It is my triggers that make it toxic and reactive. Have you seen the movie Life is Beautiful?
Yeah.
It is
I
really
have.
beautiful.
Correct.
Very lovely. Yes,
Beautiful.
Tushar.
film.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful movie. If people have not watched Life is Beautiful, you should watch. It is really motivating to see how the father is motivating the child about, oh, there is going to be American tanks and American tanks and American tanks which are going to come. And the boy keeps, they live in this thing, Jewish camps. It is during the Second World War when they are captured, and they are being taken from one place to another, and they're always hiding and no food and and the father makes the whole thing as a game. Okay, we are a part of the game, and we are playing a game, and if we win, at the end of it, we get to ride in the American tanks. And of course, then finally, when the war is almost over, the American tanks come to rescue these people, and the boys like, "Dad, we won! Dad, we won! The American tanks are here." The father has died, unfortunately. So it is a very beautiful movie. It's a very, very beautiful movie. So if you get a chance, please do watch it. It's a very emotionally touching movie. And it tells you that if you change the perspective of what's happening now, we all understand that what happened in World War II and what Hitler did in that times to the Jews and how he traumatized them is a very painful story. Not everybody can make positive outputs from what happened there. But this whole story is about how the father keeps the child motivated to stay hungry, motivated to not make it a sad episode, but take it positively so that he has a positive outcome with life. Really beautiful.
Extended family or something. But what about, people we have never met? For example, driving is the biggest pain. Like it triggers me every now and then when some vehicle cuts me off or someone jumps the signal when it's my signal. So how do you deal? Because at the end of the day, I mean, my coping mechanism, if I understand, is either getting upset or either getting angry in that circumstances, depending upon the circumstances. So I mean, how does
I'm
one?
going to tell you, okay, I'm going to tell everyone a story. Okay, you have to tell me if it is right or wrong. Okay, there is this farmer who goes into the jungle to get firewood every day. And one day, when he's in the jungle to get firewood, he finds a beautiful Arabic horse. It's a beautiful looking horse, the most handsome horse he would have ever seen in the county. Now, it's a wild horse, so he brings the horse home. So, do you think the person is lucky or unlucky? He's found a horse, the most beautiful horse he can ever have seen.
Lucky.
Okay, so he is lucky. Okay, according to Vidushi, do we all agree, yes or no?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Because
why?
after the maintenance of that horse is also like if I am going to jungle to
But stop. Now see, she said lucky because she presumed something about the story.
okay.
He said I'm not sure. So it's coming from a place of mistrust. But what makes you think that he might keep the horse? He might just sell it for a huge price and become the richest farmer of the land. He doesn't have to maintain anyone or anything.
That is also a possibility, yeah.
Now, see, it is our limited thinking because of triggers. We don't look at the other side of the story. Okay. Now, let me go further. The son says, wow, what a lovely horse. I'm going to ride this horse. So he jumps onto the horse, but the horse is not used to being rode. So he just throws the child down from his back and the child breaks his leg. Now, is the farmer lucky or unlucky?
Lucky.
Why lucky?
Situational.
Unlucky.
I still feel the horse is lucky.
Not horse girl. I'm asking you about the farmer.
Farmer is
The
unlucky in that
farmer is
situation.
lucky. Yes, farmer is lucky.
How lucky? उसके बेटे का पांव टूट गया, उसकी जिंदगी भर की कमाई थी वो. Now see again she is saying lucky because farmer का तो नहीं टूटा ना, उसके बेटे का टूटा. Farmer ने किया होता तो farmer का टांग टूटता. See how our assumptions come to conclusions. And they're all assumptions. Right? Now, in the same
I just felt that जो
city,
होना था वो होता. क्या पता वो anyway उसका पैर टूटना था. Maybe because of the horse, some new money and all will come. They'll resolve the matter.
ऐसे, do you realize I haven't finished the story? You assumed कि resolve हो जाएगा इनका matter. Okay, you don't even know the severity of the broken leg. You don't even know whether it's a fracture or a permanent damage. You don't know whether it is correctable or not correctable. You don't know whether the farmer has access to medical care or not have access to medical care. I can't hear you.
You're muted.
No, you're
You're
muted
right.
with this.
I'm presuming the story in my head and saying the answers. That's what I'm saying.
So this is what we do. We are presuming so many things because what happens is we are used to thinking in a certain way. And because we are thinking in a certain way, we begin to assume that my thought is correct. It, like I was saying, logical but irrational. It is very logical to come to the conclusion based on the thought process that you have. But is it rational? No, because you don't know the whole story. Let me finish the story. Now, one day the king happens to see the horse. And he tells the farmer, I want this horse right now. You just name the price and I want this horse. Okay? Is he lucky or unlucky?
Lucky, according to me now,
Very lucky.
in this situation.
मैंने तो पहले ही बोला था farmer is lucky.
Okay, stop. I haven't finished. Okay. Now look at how you are assuming everything. The farmer said, sorry, king, he's the only horse and I'm not willing to sell. He's now become a member of my family. I can't sell you this horse. So sorry, boss, I'm very attached to this horse. I'm not selling you the horse.
Now farmer is behaving like a stupid businessman.
Okay. Now again,
He's
assumption. Now look
attracting
at, I love
trouble.
you, Vidushi, because you just jump in with a conclusion or with an assumption. I just love you for that, for being so spontaneous and impulsive. Now the farmer goes again into the jungle the other day and then he finds that, oh my God, another beautiful white horse, exactly like this one. Wow, how lucky can I get? And he just brings the other horse at home. Lucky or unlucky?
Seems lucky. This time he can sell one horse to king.
Assumption.
Lucky.
Assumption. The boy says, no, you can't separate these horses now because siblings hai na, they look very similar. तो एक ही माँ के दो बच्चे नहीं बेचते हैं. And now the king gets to know about the second horse and is very angry with him and he destroys the farmer completely. He ostracizes the farmer and throws him out of the city boundaries and says, Desh nikala kar diya iska. So then now he has nobody to help him or he can't buy grains from anybody else. He can't buy vegetables. He can't buy or interact with the societal people in the Desh. So he's been thrown out. Now is the farmer lucky? Are the horses lucky for the farmer or unlucky for the farmer?
Unlucky.
How lucky? Abhi to he doesn't have anybody else left, no?
And he said unlucky, I guess.
You said unlucky or lucky?
Krishna said unlucky, no?
I said unlucky,
Oh, sorry. I thought you said lucky. All right. So
but
unlucky.
sorry मैम, but looking on the other side, अब कोई है नहीं उसके साथ, but horses are there. अब उसकी
हाँ तो
मदद से कुछ
horses,
कर सकते
are
हैं.
the horses going to feed him and give him eggs or buy groceries for him or not have anybody else? बस वो he, his son and his 2 horses.
वो बाजू के किंगडम में चले जाएगी.
नहीं, बाजू
और
का
they can
किंगडम
trade.
बहुत दूर है. अजम्पशन, द बाजू का किंगडम बस बाजू वाली गली में है, बंबई नहीं है, इंडिया नहीं है कि बाजू वाले के पास जाके 1 कटोरे चीनी दे रहे बाबा करके बोल सकते हैं. He might have to travel on the horse for days to go to the other kingdom. Assumption. Correct? Now the story is still not over. Now what happens is, suddenly there is war in the city, in the kingdom. And the king now brings all the people जिनको देश निकाला किया है उनको वापस बुला लेता है. And he makes a rule that all young boys of the family will go to war. And he doesn't have enough soldiers. So he says, nee, every young boy will go to war. Now, they all come to pick up the boy. And they realize that the boy is crippled. So they leave the boy at war, at home, and they go away. Is he lucky or unlucky?
Look, I told you it was lucky.
Yeah, I'm coming back. Now, the horses are also taken away because war में horses की जरूरत है. So the farmer is not given a choice and the horses are taken away for war. Now lucky or unlucky?
Oh, now he's unlucky.
Now he's unlucky.
Okay. And then they realize that at war, all the soldiers who went there died because they were outnumbered and not trained enough. Lucky or unlucky?
Lucky.
Farmer or the king?
किंग का लक के हम डिस्कस ही नहीं कर रहे, हम फार्मर का ही लक डिस्कस कर रहे हैं.
Farmer lucky.
Farmer lucky. उसका बच्चा बच गया.
Farmer unlucky na because the kingdom will be now taken over. He is the slave.
Yeah,
Who cares?
farmer
वो तो
is
बजा वो
unlucky.
उसका था, उसका क्या है, वो तो किंग बदलते रहते हैं यार तुषार.
अच्छा. Okay.
He unlucky because he wouldn't able to bring the trained soldiers maybe.
But then how is, no, the king is unlucky, but we are not discussing the king's luck. We are discussing the farmer's luck. We are not worried about the war and who comes and who goes. Because in the common man's life, no matter who we vote and we comes into power, our life continues as it. Nothing changes for us. Isn't it, Aarti? Has Trump's coming or not coming made any difference to your life every day?
No, not at all.
There we are. So it doesn't
Everyone
matter.
is the same. Both are the same.
Exactly. Whoever, nobody is going to bring a bag of rice to my house because they came into power. Correct? So understand our concept of good, bad, right, wrong, lucky, unlucky, all comes from limited information. When there is another aspect of information added, our aspect of lucky, unlucky, good, bad, right, wrong keeps changing. This is good, this is bad. To answer your question, Tushar, when you are driving, did you assume that the road was going to be empty? And was there a rule that was told to you that people will drive in a civil manner every single time? Were you promised that?
No. No,
Then
it
why
was
did you choose
expected.
to buy a car? Who told you not to travel in a public transport? So it is my khujli to drive, take it out on Bombay streets when it is crowded and there is traffic. And tell me, Tushar, let's be very honest. Have you ever driven rashly when there was an emergency or when there was a need for you to drive rashly? Drive rashly?
I did
Do
in
you think
certain
people,
times.
yeah, and do you think that people around you might have abused you the way you might have abused a rash driver?
Chances are more 100%. Yeah.
Correct. What gives us the right to say you can't do something that I'm allowed to do?
But
How do
I
you
was talking.
know?
I was
How do
talking
I
about
know
digging
that the
triggers.
I'm saying when I'm driving and somebody is rash driving? How do I know that whoever is rash driving or is not following traffic rules does not have an emergency with him in that moment? Is there not a logic in your head that says, हर एक को हर बार कैसे आता है emergency? It's not the same person you're encountering, but the population is so huge that every day I might encounter somebody with an emergency.
Possible.
So it's not the same person committing the same crime every single day. And like you do it once in a while when there is a need, everybody is doing it once in a while when there is a necessity. Why is your crime forgiven and their crime punished? Am I making sense to you?
Yep. Yep.
No, Krishna is not convinced.
Yes, ma'am, I'm convinced.
You said no. I was beginning to feel threatened about my teaching skills. Ki, Arey, yaar, Krishna didn't understand.
No, ma'am,
Imagine.
I'm convinced. Uh, ma'am, ये वाला point since last when you taught us in the sessions
PDP.
from them, ये PDP से ये चलता आ रहा है थोड़ा सा.
Perception. We were discussing about perception, how
Perception.
perception changes one after the other. And I am triggered because I am driving sanely and now you cut in and come in the lane. तू मुझसे आगे जा ही कैसे सकता है? The point is that we are angry not because he's rash driving. We are angry because he has inconvenienced me in going ahead by doing what he's done. He did not let me go. He went ahead of me in unfair means.
Yeah.
Now,
That is the one. Yes.
and think how your life keeps going up and down because you perceive the environment is not fair and people are just grabbing opportunities, and that is why I don't get an opportunity. I am doing the right thing and yet people don't let me get what I deserve.
I got the point. This is getting a closure on why I feel triggered when I am driving and encountered a rash driver. Yeah.
It is always like this. At a deeper level, our triggers are triggering our insecurities, and we don't like to feel insecure. And so we end up putting up a coping mechanism saying, "It just because he showed you the mirror. देख तेरा trigger, देख तेरा trigger, देख तेरा trigger, देख तेरा trigger." The idea is to ask yourselves, when did I learn this belief? Agar we are hungry, suppose if we find out that uh, 4 stations away, there is somebody who's giving out something that you need very desperately and is not easily available. Will we not go and grab it and take a dash at it? I will do it. So then why is it wrong if somebody else also does the same thing? Just that I lost and you won in the car racing game. We don't like to lose because then we make a judgment of ourselves when we lose. When I lose, I'm saying I'm not good enough. And when somebody else wins, we are saying they won by unfair means. Yes or no? So our triggers, our behaviors are my behaviors and they're justified. Somebody else's behavior is you're not civil. Where is the rule that says you must be civil? You are expected to be civil. if I can break a rule, I will break a rule. है कि नहीं? So understand triggers are something that is internal, and what I can do of what is mine, I have a control. But I can't control your behavior. I can't tell you don't show me the mirror. And at times, as mothers also, I can tell you that probably I may trigger something about my child. I may trigger something within a child. And therefore, he treats me in a certain way. But as a mother, I'm expecting to be respected by my child. But I almost always forgive the child for being disrespectful to me. है कि नहीं अमरप्रीत, Vidushi, mothers, Aarti? We do that.
I don't do that. I call my children out.
You call them out, agreed. But then we forgive them. You give them a lesson, but you forgive them. You don't hold the grudge against them for life, do you?
नहीं, वो इतने छोटे हैं.
हाँ, तो exactly. बच्चे हमेशा हमेशा छोटे ही रहते हैं. But the same thing, if the husband does, I won't forgive him for a lifetime.
Yeah, I'll kill him.
Correct.
I'm killing him only.
Please understand,
I
when
hold him
some
accountable for it. I keep annoying him also.
for the lifetime. Now, who's being the child here, you or him? Correct. And then who should be taught lessons, the child or the adult? There we go. You answered your own questions.
Oh, so you're trying to tell in this that जैसे आप अपने बच्चों को इतनी quickly forgive कर देते हो by just giving them what they need to know, start treating adults like that. Don't
Tell me, if we are in an adult situation, would we actually trigger each other?
हाँ करेंगे
It
trigger.
नहीं
My
करेंगे.
mother triggers me so
No,
much.
hold. I'm not talking of physical age, girl. I'm talking of mental age.
Oh,
I am an adult mental age, and somebody can be sermonizing me like a parent. ये मत करो, ऐसा करो, वैसा करो. They are in a parent stage. So if they are acting like a parent, I can just withdraw and say, okay, they don't know that I have become an adult and they're treating me like a child. But that's their problem. They have child issues, not me. So let me not make this personal. And we forgive them. If a child says, okay, mommy, now I'm a big boy, I don't care, you don't teach me what I'm doing, and blah, 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 blah. And you are an adult and you say, okay, bacha hai, he doesn't know what is right and wrong and doesn't know the responsibilities. Let me forgive him. Maaf kar do. You can have a conversation with an adult to adult. Somebody who's willing to listen and somebody who's willing to talk. Both of us need to have good listening skills, good empathetic skills, and good communication skills. That is an adult to adult communication. Otherwise, it is adult to parent and adult to child conversations. The idea.
मतलब जब अब ये जो ट्रिगर सिचुएशन थी एक्चुअली जो मेरा वाला एग्जांपल था I was being the child and Raj was trying to be the parent. I was operating from my kid.
He was an adult. He was an adult in the first place. Where he said, hey Vidushi, tere shopping ka kya hua? So he was an adult who was trying to tease a child.
And I was operating from the child only.
And you said, tu mere ko bol mat mere shopping ke bare mein kuch bhi. How dare you speak to me like that? मैं बड़ा हो गया हूँ. I can shop whatever I want now.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
There you are. So it is a child trying to tell an adult, don't treat me like blah, 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 and then you punished him by saying, I'm not talking to you. मुझसे बात मत कर खड़ा. And we are like, how do we go about getting well from this situation? Well, everyday journal. At the end of the day, what triggered me today? And where did I learn this? Is this the truth? Or is this my imagination? Or is this my learned truth? Because there is no absolute truth in life. Everything is a learned mechanism. So anything that is learned can be unlearned. and there can always be a beginning. अमरप्रीत बहुत serious हो गया क्या?
Got this message yesterday only I was telling I have formed these habits over a period of maybe since 40 years age. So I was telling one of my friends it's so difficult to unlearn. So I get it from you today there can always be a beginning, and that's what I heard from him yesterday. Saying if you have developed these habits over a period of 40 years, that you can always restart. Age
Definitely.
is just that's what you are saying, exactly the same thing.
True. So here we are coming to an end of the triggers. Any questions? We have the last 2 minutes before we close for today. Enough lecturing, enough excitement, enough gyan batoing for the day.
No questions. But
Lovely.
journaling will help me come
Become
to the
more aware.
yeah.
And then working on your triggers consciously. They definitely would.
And you have to figure what are the voids.
Not me. You have to figure out your voids.
Me, I have to figure. I have.
Yes. Great. Any other questions? Aarti, do you have questions? Amarpreet, do you have questions? Krishna?
No.
Thank you, Aarti. You're a great listener and a great learner because no questions is very threatening to me. That
I
means
just have one. I have one question still.
Okay, please ask.
How to switch the mind
Hmm.
in that specific situation? Like right now, I know I'm getting triggered.
Hmm.
I know my mind getting triggered, but I don't want it to get triggered. That
Hmm.
means I have to switch my mind, or I have to train my mind not to get triggered, right?
Correct.
So in that small of time of period, I do not to get triggered and change my mind.
Correct. So it's going to be very difficult in that moment instantly when you're getting triggered because it's habit. But like I said, if you start journaling every day in the night for 15 minutes, you start writing what triggered me today and go through your day. Say, okay, I said this to the maid. I said this to my mother-in-law. I said this to my dog. I said this to my cat. I said this to my husband. I said this to my child. Like that, when you say it, and this is where I lost my peace. A trigger is a place where you lost your peace and you became reactive to the situation. You did not respond to the situation. So now when you are reactive to a situation, that means something triggered you. Become aware of what triggers you. And then once you begin to become aware of what triggers you, then the next time when something similar happens, you have to say, okay, this is my opinion, not the ultimate truth. This is not his intention, but just my understanding or perception. Like that, then you begin to react rather than respond to us. I mean, you respond rather than react to a situation. Otherwise, we are very reactive in our approaches. When we are triggered, we are reactive. When we are centered, we are responsive.
Responded. Got it.
Yeah. So
Makes
are we
sense.
good for
Yeah,
today?
makes sense.
Lovely. Sanika is joined,
Yes.
but I don't know whether she's there
Yes,
because her
ma'am.
video is off. So I didn't acknowledge what she said. Great.
I'm there.
So
I am there. I am there. I'm listening. I'm
lovely.
just on set, which is why I can't keep my camera and.
I understand. I understand. Cool. So Sanika, any questions for me?
Not at the moment. It's
Hmm.
not at the moment. She asked my question. It's
Hmm.
answered.
Okay, lovely. Great. So that's it for today. Have a lovely day, people. Lovely start for a Sunday morning for me. And hope to see you next Sunday.